Hey everybody. Now, it might seem kind of like small potatoes in a world of pandemics, lockdowns, record wildfires, protests, but for Stones fans it's kind of a little treat to get an expanded re-release of their 1973 album, Goat's Head Soup. Now, upon its initial release, it kind of got a lukewarm reception from critics. It came on the heels of one of their great albums, and was considered one of the greatest albums of all time, Exile on Main Street. And critics thought this one, well, the rockers sounded kind of perfunctory, the ballads sort of samey, and it was recorded under strange conditions. The band was on the run. Keith had drug charges pending in France. There weren't a lot of countries they could record in. So they ended up in Jamaica, and they were holed up. They didn't really soak in the local music scene, and that plus copious quaaludes equaled, well, maybe an album that wasn't up to their usual standards. But in retrospect, it does have a few gems, and of course it does have the number one hit, Angie, which with its lyrics, like, where will it lead us from here? It's perfect for our COVID times. And the Keith ballad, Coming Down Again, where are all my friends? Hey, hits the mark for right now. But I thought, it's the re-release has 10 extra tracks, some outtakes that weren't on the original album, some new mixes of the release tracks. I thought I'd just go down the list, tell you what I liked, what I thought was so, what could have been dropped, just give you a taste. So, first one is called Scarlet, and this one has really received most of the hype on the release because it does contain a guitar solo by Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin. And but to be frank, the opening riff though is by Keith. It's this scraping thing. It really reminds you, if you go on YouTube and look at their cover of the soul classic Ain't Too Proud to Beg, and then skip up to his solo, this really evokes that period when he's most smacked out, will this do kind of playing, it's sort of not great guitar on his part. Page is there, but it's a solo, it's nothing to write home about. What really lifts this track for me though is Mick's vocal. It is beautiful. Scarlet. It's from his late 20s, early 30s vocal peak. It's just passionate and heartfelt. It's a real little gem. So Mick's vocal is what makes Scarlet for me really listenable. So there's that. And then we got track 2, All the Rage. Now this is another unreleased track. You can find it on bootlegs on YouTube, and it was originally called You Should Have Seen Her Ass. So the Stones smartly, diplomatically changed the title for our more evolved times to All the Rage. But, it's got a riff that sounds like Keith later used for the song Little TNA on Tattoo You. And, it's got COVID-relevant lyrics about everybody's inside trying not to go insane. But really, this time Mick's vocal is so braying. It's just, it's like, God, I think it's a new one he put on there. It's just like, God, you just want to skip it. Let's get out of here. So let's get to track 3. Crisscross, another outtake from that era, available on bootlegs. It's okay. It sounds sort of like their song All Down the Line from Exile on Main Street, just sort of with a deeper 70s style, more wah-wah guitar, more cowbell. Hey, I need more cowbell. But other than that, pretty generic, it's just sort of there. Okay. Track 4, 100 Years Ago. Now this version is a different version off Goat's Head. The Goat's Head version had Mick singing against a clavinet, this sort of organ. Here he's singing against a piano, and it's just a lovely song as a demo, and it's very pastoral, and it really feels relevant to our times because it's about him, walking in the woods, hearing the birds, feeling the air, and sort of bittersweet, and and yeah, it just feels really relevant to our, our environment in crisis era. So yeah, track 4, 100 years ago, excellent. 5, Dancing with Mr. D. This is a, it's just a, yeah, we got more cowbell here too, more Mick Taylor guitar. It sounds pretty much like the Goat's Head versions, which was sort of a slower retread of Sympathy for the Devil. And if you liked it then, you like it now, I guess. Okay. 6, Heartbreaker. Now this is an instrumental version of their song Do 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 Heartbreaker, which the song itself, of course, takes on, again, increased relevance today. It's about cop shooting a black kid through the heart. My God, what could it be more relevant to 2020, So that's nice. And the instrumental is fascinating because it kind of reveals the blaxploitation roots the Stones were probably soaking in at the time in the early 70s, like Curtis Mayfield's Across 110th Street. So that's kind of an interesting little touch. And if you listen to the opening lick, now only real Stones nerds will catch this, but you can see where the initial riff from this 1968 Beggar's Banquet outtake, Family, which really didn't go anywhere, but it's the same little riff, and obviously here it morphed into what became Heartbreaker, so that's kind of interesting. 7, Hide Your Love, which was sort of Mick at sort of a New Orleans piano. And here it becomes even more of a rave up. There's more of a barrel house feeling to the piano. The bass drum is more prominent. A different Mick Taylor solo, Mick's kind of swinging the vocal here and there. It's fascinating. It's really no better than the release track, but it's an interesting different version. So it's okay. It's enjoyable. Number 8 again. Another version of Dancing with Mr. D. Okay, if you haven't had enough of that track, here it is. More cowbell, a little more piano. Mick Taylor, Mr. Play 100 notes where 20 would do. I know he's worshipped by Stones fans. I always thought he was just sort of a pointless soloist, but he's on there more. So if you like Taylor, you'll probably like this version of Dancing with Mr. D. Okay, and track 9, yeah, another version of Do 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 Heartbreaker. This is just basically the released version without Mick's vocal, so it's just the instrumental with all the horns, and it's like the karaoke version if you ever wanted to sing it, so great. And 10, a different version of the Goat's Head track, Silver Train, which, is already kind of a repetitive, rocker, Mick's jolly about getting on board a train with a prostitute or something. Silver trains are coming. He sounds even more out to lunch and phoning it in here. Really, whatever, just let it go. So, there's a handful of tracks on the re-release that are worth checking out. A couple kind of stellar new ones. Really, I thought, if you go on YouTube and look at outtakes from this era, there's a song called Fast Talkin', Slow Walkin'. And it's like an epic track. It's many different parts. Mick's vocal slows down, then picks up with energy, then starts walking again. A real epic journey of a song. They could have easily dumped one of the alternate mixes or, make-weight new songs for that one. So I wish they'd been a little, God knows all the time on their hands. They could have been a little bit cannier with the selections. But as it goes, if you still buy CDs, it's not a waste of 20-some bucks. It's a good little time, and hell, there are better ways. There are worse ways you could spend your time in this COVID year. So I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on it. Please stay safe and take care.